Hi, I'm Trina Bresser Matous, and I've been writing for Ask God Today Ministries for almost a year. I grew up in a Christian home. Though it seems like I've always known God, I also had a sense that there was more to a relationship with Him than what I was experiencing. In my mid-20s, I discovered that what I was yearning for was an intimate relationship with Jesus. Since then, God has taken me on an amazing journey as He has shaped and molded me for His purposes. One of the themes of my relationship with God has been recognizing and walking through doors He has opened. Early on, I had a desire to get married, but never seemed to meet the right guy. Initially, I would have settled for someone who went to church. As I continued to walk with God, He raised the bar to a man who was committed to Jesus. As I continued to wait and hope for Mr. Right, God was at work in me. He wanted me to learn to be content with where I was at the moment, not continually hoping for something different. Slowly, I found contentment in being single as Paul's words in Philippians 4 took on greater meaning for me. I too was learning to be content in whatever the circumstances. One more time, God raised the bar on who would be a suitable mate. Now, if I was to get married, it wouldn't be enough for my future husband to be committed to Jesus. He would have to be completely sold out to Jesus. By my mid to late 30s, I was feeling pretty certain God was calling me to be single. And then, isn't it just like God to take you to the point of joyfully accepting what you didn't think you wanted and then give you what you hoped for? That's just what happened. My husband and I attended the same church, though we're only acquaintances at best. The unexpected death of his wife opened a door neither one of us anticipated. I'm happy to report that 11 years later, I'm living happily ever after. This is not to say that things have always been easy. I've had to learn to trust God in a whole new set of circumstances. Blending a family has had its trials, yet the more I've leaned on God and trusted Him, the more I've learned to love as He loves. Out of many of these experiences, God has begun to open doors for a writing career. Though one of the things I learned in college was that I could write, I didn't really do too much until my church asked me to write a series of notes to accompany a read through the Bible in a year program we were doing at the time. I didn't realize when I said yes just how much work I'd committed myself to. But God provided the time, energy, stamina, and insight I needed in order to get the project done. I spent 1 year writing through the Old Testament and the next writing through the New. The notes were a greater blessing to my church body than I ever would have guessed. I hardly felt qualified when I was asked, yet God used a willing spirit to serve His purposes. When I was done writing the notes, I thought I was done, but God had other plans. A piece of what I considered junk mail addressed to my husband caught my attention. It was an advertisement for a Christian writers' conference. When I showed it to my husband, he thought it would be a great conference for both of us. Writers' conferences are an opportunity for writers to learn more about their craft as well as network with editors and publishers. The brochure included a testimonial from one woman who made a contact on her very first day that resulted in a contract to publish her book. I read that and thought, yeah, right, one of those advertising testimonials that never takes place. I thought that until it actually happened to me. At lunch on the very first day, I met the editor of a small publishing house who liked what I showed him. God opened another door, which I walked through when I signed the contract. The notes I wrote have become the Christian Living Bible Study series, and I'm excited to see how God is using these books to shed light on His Word for people who would have a desire for a deeper relationship with Him. Another door was opened just about a year ago when I happened to see a tweet from Brenda McGraw, who was looking for writers to expand the Ask God Today ministry. I never would have responded had I not, only days before, had coffee with a friend who responded to a tweet and landed a job with a local news station consumer advocacy department. God set up just the right meeting at just the right time to invite me to once again step through a door He had opened. That's a little bit about me. More importantly, it's more about how God has used me to fill His plans and purposes. I may be uniquely gifted and talented, but I'm not the only one. In God's hands, each of us are uniquely used for His plans and His purposes. Just as He had more in mind for me than what I could have imagined or conceived, He has the same in mind for you too. So I want to encourage you to seek Him with all your heart and boldly follow where He leads. The journey will be more exciting and fulfilling than anything you could arrange on your own. May you know God deeply and experience His many blessings.